Hi, I'm here for First Chapter Friday. This is another Sunshine State book for the state of Florida this year for middle school, and it is called The First State of Being by Erin Kelly. And I want to point out that this won the National Book Award and the Newbery Award. So this is a very highly praised book. It is dedicated to the Laughing Man, and it has a little map of an apartment complex that might be helpful to have a visual before I start reading. And it has a little prelogue. Maybe you've heard of Y2K. That was when it went from 1999 to the year 2000, and everyone was freaking out because they thought that it was going to mess up all the computers because they weren't sure that the computers were going to understand the moving of the year from 99 to 00. So it was called Y2K. The millennium bug, or the year 2000 problem, refers to a worldwide panic that occurred on world as the calendar neared January 1st, 2000. At the time, it was believed that computer systems would malfunction when the internal program system reset to the year 00. Some information technology experts warned that computers would not be able to distinguish the correct meaning of 00, resulting in widespread failure of vital infrastructures. This failure was expected to cause disruptions in air travel, banking, industry, electric grids, phone systems, and other critical services necessary for daily living at the turn of the century. The Y2K scare was fueled by intense media coverage. Ultimately, however, there were very few disruptions and no disaster came to pass. Chapter 1. Peaches, Michael Rosario thought. That's what we need. His mother loved peaches. If the world came to a standstill at midnight on January 1st, 2000, at least she would have two things she cherished, peaches and Michael. He gazed at the shelves of canned fruit in the Super Saver. He pulled the can from the shelf. He looked left. He looked right, then left again. It was early, barely 7:30 in the morning, so the place was practically empty. It was the perfect time to go grocery shopping, if you'd call it that. He slipped the peaches into the pocket of his windbreaker and felt them settle. He focused on the exit and headed in that direction. Ooh, is he stealing? He pictured his mother huddled in the darkened hours of the new millennium, scooping a spoonful of sweet peaches into her mouth, saying, "You know what, Michael? You were right about Y2K. I should have listened. Sometimes 11-year-old boys know exactly what to do." Only he wasn't 11 anymore. As of today, he was 12, and they probably wouldn't need to open the canned goods right away. They'd have to eat everything from the refrigerator first before it all went bad. The exit was right in front of him. 1 or 2 steps, and shoop, the automatic doors would slide open. "Hey, Mikey Mike!" He froze. "It's Michael, not Mikey Mike," he instinctively said, though he didn't say it aloud, because he recognized the voice, and it belonged to 19-year-old Billy Gibson, who everyone called BG. If Michael were a different person, he might have kept walking or pretended he hadn't heard. But he couldn't. Of course he couldn't, because everyone always heard BG. BG made sure of that. Michael turned. The peaches were so heavy. Michael felt the urge to sneeze. He was still getting over his stupid summer cold, and his eyes watered. He didn't want to move. He didn't want to sneeze. He didn't want to do anything but disappear into the ether. BG was in the produce section wearing the standard Super Saver uniform, the same kind Michael's mother had worn before she'd been fired. A cart of potatoes was parked next to him. "What are you doing here so early in the morning?" BG said. He picked up some potatoes and shoved them into place. "Getting flowers for your mama?" he snickered. Michael couldn't think of anything to say. Not a single word came to him. He pressed his right thumb into the center of his palm. "As soon as he looks at the potatoes again, I'll keep walking," he told himself. But BG didn't look at the potatoes. Instead, his gaze drifted over Michael's shoulder and landed on Jamar Prince, who was walking toward them holding 3 Butterfingers and a crumbled receipt. BG's expression turned serious. Jamar smiled faintly at Michael. "Hey, I thought that was you. You want to walk back with me?" Since when did Jamar Price, who was 16 in high school, want to walk anywhere with him? Since when did Billy Gibson work the morning shift? Since when did either of them come anywhere near the Super Saver at 7:30 a.m.? Michael was here at precisely this time because he didn't want to see anyone. And now look. Michael shifted from foot to foot. BG strode over holding a pale white potato, which somewhat resembled the shape and color of his head. He narrowed his eyes at Jamar's candy bars. Did you pay for those? Jamar raised his chin. Yeah, I paid for them, he said, his voice sharp. What are you trying to say? Michael's body tensed. He felt like a blade of grass caught between two boulders. The exit was right there, a few steps away. If you paid for them, how come they're not in a bag? Said BG. What do I need a bag for? Jamar said. And I don't need to steal candy bars from this raggedy store when I have money of my own. Jamar stepped closer to Michael and nudged his shoulder. Come on, let's walk back. Keep me company. Jamar headed to the exit. Michael followed. You better not be stealing. My father's the manager, you know, BG called after them. He was talking to Jamar, of course, even though Michael was the one with a pocket full of peaches. Jamar called BG a name under his breath, a two-syllable swear word, and he and Michael went through the automatic doors and walked toward Fox Run Apartments, where they both lived. Michael wasn't one for swearing. He heard it all the time, of course, at school, around the complex, in movies, but for whatever reason, it made him feel squirmy, like he was doing something wrong, even though he wasn't doing anything. I wanted to make sure he wasn't giving you a hard time, Jamar said. He shoved two of the candy bars in his back pocket, ripped the third open with his teeth, and spit a piece of the torn wrapper onto the ground as they crossed the street. Michael wanted desperately to pick it up so he could throw it away properly, but he didn't want to look fussy. Jamar continued. Sometimes he messes with Darius. Darius was Jamar's youngest brother. Michael wasn't sure how old he was, maybe 8 or 9. Jamar had another brother, Elijah, who was going into 7th grade, just like Michael. They weren't friends. They weren't enemies. They just weren't anything. Darius is quiet, like you, Jamar said, his mouth full. Easy target for people. Except he didn't say people. He said the swear word again. They were now on the grounds of Fox Run Apartments and Townhomes, the best community in Delaware, and Jamar veered left toward Building A, while Michael veered right toward Building J. See you around, said Jamar. Thanks, Michael said, but Jamar was already too far away to hear him. Michael didn't realize how tense he was until he saw the courtyard near his building. He took a deep breath and relaxed his shoulders. Everything looked as it should. Cars in their assigned parking spots, a stray cat, the one Michael had secretly named Tuxedo slinking around the bushes, Mr. Mosley, the maintenance man, hefting a can of paint toward a vacant apartment. Hey, Mr. Mosley, Michael said. Mosley looked up. He had a brown, weathered face smattered with wrinkles and folds from his forehead to his chin. But when he smiled like he was doing now, all the lines settled at the corner of his eyes. He was wearing his painting overalls with Fox Run stitched on the pocket. Michael, Mosley said cheerfully. He set down the can of paint. Just the man I wanted to see. He pulled out his wallet, the one with the Philadelphia Eagles logo emblazoned on the front, and slipped a crisp $20 bill from it. Today's your big day, if I'm not mistaken. He waved the money in Michael's direction. You don't have to give me anything, Michael said. He sneezed and wiped his nose with the back of his hand, something he'd never do if his mama were here. But Mr. Mosley didn't care about such things. Well, yeah, I don't have to. There are only 2 things I have to do, pay taxes and die, Mosley said, one of his favorite expressions. Actually, make that 3 things, pay taxes, die, and paint apartment 3F. He towed the paint can. Eggshell white, it said, same color in every apartment. But for right now, I'm giving you $20. Michael wanted to take it, but he also didn't want to take it. It's one thing to shoplift because you don't have money. It's another thing to shoplift if you do. That's how Michael reconciled it anyway. Maybe I'll walk back to the Super Saver later and pay for the peaches, he thought, even though he knew he wouldn't. Thanks, Mr. Mosley, Michael said. He took the money. No problem. Besides, Mosley stopped mid-sentence. There was a kid, a teenager several paces away, wandering towards them with an unusual expression on his face. He kept glancing over his shoulder like he was being followed. He looked, what? Not afraid or panicked exactly, more like someone who had just committed a crime, robbed a bank perhaps, or stolen canned goods from the Super Saver. As he came closer, Michael realized how odd his clothes were. He was wearing a uniform of some kind, shirt and pants, white, but not white, eggshell maybe, like the paint, and his shoes were exactly the same eggshell color. Together, the outfit glinted strangely in the sun. Mosley stopped in front of Michael. "Hey there," Mosley said. "Can I help you?" The teenager seemed startled that Mosley was speaking to him, even though Mosley and Michael had been watching him the whole time, and vice versa. "Hello," the teenager said. He looked like he could be half Filipino, like Michael. He stopped on the sidewalk a few steps in front of them and cleared his throat. "What's up?" "You need help with something?" Mosley said. "No. Yes," he paused. "My name is Ridge. It's a pleasure to meet you." Mosley ignored the introduction. "You need help with something?" "Could you tell me the date?" Ridge said. "It's August 17th, Michael said quietly. "Thank you," Ridge said. He glanced over his shoulder. "What year?" Michael glanced at Mosley. What kind of person didn't know what year it was? "It's 1999, Mosley replied. More a question than a statement. Ridge repeated the year under his breath. The expression on his face changed. Excitement or fear, Michael couldn't tell which. "You live here at Fox Run?" Mosley said. "Never seen you around before." Ridge didn't answer. He was chewing his bottom lip like he was trying to solve a complex math equation. "Did you hear me, kid?" Mosley asked. "Yes, yeah," Ridge replied, walking backward, like he couldn't wait to get away from them. "I do. I live right around here." He waved in a general direction that didn't mean anything, and then he turned on his heel. "Thanks for your help. Peace out." Mosley and Michael watched him disappear behind Building F. "Well, that was weird," Mosley said. He picked up the paint can. "Better keep an eye on that kid if we want to see him around again. He's up to something." He punched Michael playfully on the shoulder. "Then again, we're all up to something in our own way, right, Michael?" "Yeah," Michael said, thinking about his pocket of peaches. "We're all up to something." All right, that's chapter 1. Come check it out from the Media Center today.